Hello, welcome to another episode of Camp C++ Quickies. This time we're going to talk about the for loop in C++. Now, if you remember last time, we'd written this program that said while max is greater than 0, 2pow equals 2. While 2pow is less than max, we multiply by 2, um, and then we enter a new maximum number, 0 to quit. Okay. Sometimes you want to do a thing a certain number of times rather than waiting for letting the user choose how many times to do it. Um, so let's say we know we want to go up to a gigabyte. Okay. So we could say um, um, int repetitions equals 3, say. Then we would use a for loop, in this case as a counting loop. Okay. Um, for int I is usually used for index. Okay. I equals 0. You put a semicolon in the middle of the loop statement, which is a little weird for C++, but that's how it's done. Uh, then you put in so that's your initial condition, and I equals 0. Then you put in um, your terminating condition, I less than, or your while condition, I less than repetition, so that'll make sure we do it 3 times. And we want to increment this once each time we run through the loop, so we use the plus plus operator. I don't think we've talked about increment and decrement operators in this series yet. So plus plus means add 1 to the number, minus minus equals subtract 1 from the number. In this case, we're counting up, so we want to use plus plus. Note that there is not a semicolon after the last part of the for loop. So you've got your initializing statement, your while statement, keep going while I is less than repetitions, and you've got your increasing or decreasing. You can count down just as easily here. Okay. Um, so 2pow equals 2. While 2pow is less than, um, we'll say, power of 10 to the repetitions. Okay, or well, we were doing 1,000 to the repetitions. Okay. Then we do our loop. And now instead of enter new maximum number 0 to quit, we'll just repeat it. Okay. And we'll even let you know what we're doing. Powers of 2 up to pow 1,000 I. Okay. Now what's wrong with that? I at first is going to be 0, so we'll go up to 1, and that won't return anything. So I did this out of habit because we haven't introduced the idea of arrays in C++, but you'll see the power of this for loop and the reason why we started at 0 once we introduce arrays. Arrays always, the first element is 0, and it goes up to 1 less than the maximum number. But in this case, there's absolutely no reason why you have to do your for loop that way. So we can start counting at 1 and go to less than equal to repetition. So we'll get 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And we can even show what that is by saying 1,000 caret I. And there's the introduction to our list. Okay. So we run this. Power is up to 1000 to 1. Yeah, 1024 up to 1000 to 2. 104856, 1000 to 3, up to 107374. Okay, the program is ending now. Okay, so you see we can repeat something a certain number of times, and there's no reason we had to pick 3. We could do 100 to the power of I, or even 10 to the power of I. And repetitions is 10. Okay. And now when we run this,
he technically wasn't.
uh-oh, bug.
Sit down.
What did I do wrong this time?
Look at me. Sorry.
Some repetitions, I plus plus.
That's what.
Let's see.
That's what Daffy did.
We did up to 10 to the 10. Oh, we got bigger than integers are allowed to go. Okay. So we can't do 10. We'll do 9. There we go. Okay, so this is as big as integers are allowed to go here, apparently. So we
like this? Like this? Oh, come on. That's how I can see the thing. Oh, come on.
okay.
Yeah.
Or at least
No,
10 to the 10 is bigger than integers are allowed to go. So, okay.
Okay. That time I didn't even say a dual. A dual?
So,
Listen, you don't have to get a glove to challenge me. You can use a bat.
what we wanted to do now is see, can we replace this while loop with a for loop? Well, we have a starting value. Let's see if we can write the for loop version down here. We have a starting value, and 2pal equals 2. Okay, so we can now get rid of that line. We have a while value, 2pal less than, so we can write the second part of our for loop. Okay, and we have an increment operation, a counting operation, except this time it's not counting, it's multiplying. Can we do that in the for loop? Well, let's find out. And then we have the result of the for loop, or the code that executes in the for loop, is only a single line this time. Cout 2pal and comma. Okay. So let's see what happens. Now there's a problem. 2pal, we can't output the very last value because 2pal was declared in the for loop. So we don't have to declare the value in the for loop. We can just initialize it in the for loop, and now it will last longer than the for loop itself. Okay. Up to 10 to the 1, we get to 16. Up to 10 to the 2, we get 128. 10 to the 3, we get 1024, and so forth and so on. Okay, so that gives us exactly the output we were looking for, and we did it all using for loops. Now the nifty thing is that the for loop makes it much more compact. We can, instead of having a loop initializer outside and then a while thing and then the increment happening inside the while loop, all of this is set up in one little loop statement. And we can use that either for fairly powerful mathematics, like multiplying by 2 each time, or we can use it for simple counting, plus plus each time. I said you could count down. I just want to show you how that would work. I equals repetitions. I greater than 0. I minus minus. So we could run it this way. And this time we go 10 to the 9th, 10 to the 8th, 10 to the 7th, all the way down to 10 to the 1. Okay, so we counted down instead of counting up. Still worked. Still got the same output, but in the wrong, not the wrong order, in the opposite order, in the counting down order. Okay. And finally, this doesn't even have to be a mathematical operation. It could be reading the next line from a file. You could say, read the first line while you haven't reached end of file, read from the file. I've seen people do that with for loops. So very powerful construct that you can do a huge number of things with in C++. Okay, we're going to stop there, and you're going to go practice some loops.